Good morning and welcome to your manual handling trainer. I'm Jenny Murphy, the manual handling trainer for SASH, and today we're talking about how to get a patient who's suffered a cardiac arrest out of the chair and onto the floor. So if you're unlucky enough to be walking through the hospital and you find a patient slumped over in the chair, once you've ascertained that actually they're not just having a little snooze and there is actually something seriously wrong, the first thing that we want you to do is to call for help. Because what we want is a MET call, either pulling the emergency cord bell, pushing the buzzer, or dialing 2222 on the phone to get help coming. Then what we want to try and do is to get the patient onto a nice hard flat surface in order to start CPR. And the easiest method to do this and the safest method to do this is to get our patient down onto the floor. What we shouldn't be doing is actually manually lifting our patient and putting them over onto a bed to attempt CPR. There are only 4 emergency situations where we would manually lift our patient. They are if the building is on fire, if the building is flooding, if the building is collapsing from something like an earthquake, or if there's an immediate threat to life from something like a terrorist attack. And at that point, if we did nothing, it's likely that our patient would come to harm. So therefore, that might be one of the occasions when we could manually lift our patient. Cardiac arrest is not one of those, because statistics show that in something like 80% of cases, there is some sort of pre-warning that a cardiac arrest is coming. So therefore, this is not one of the situations where we can manually lift our patient. So with our patient in the chair then, in ideal circumstances, there will be more than just me attempting this manoeuvre, because what we want to try and do is to protect our patient's head. However, if there is just you here, you can still do this technique, but you just do it slightly differently. As you can see, if our patient is slumped over to one side, this buttock area of the patient is slightly raised, and we're going to use that to our advantage when we're doing this technique. So we come round to in front of the patient. We kneel down in a nice wide kneeling base, and then we put one hand behind the hip of the patient and the other hand behind the opposite knee of the patient. And then we do a weight transfer backwards. And as you can see, our patient starts to slide across the chair. At the point at which I stopped doing the weight transfer, gravity will take over and we'll start bringing our patient out of the chair and onto the floor. At that point, if you are just on your own, try and support the patient's head against your chest to prevent any damage as the patient slides out of the chair. If there's more than one of you, then again we're going to do that same technique, but we'd use the other person either to protect the head, or if there are 3 of you, and especially if the patient is larger, one member of staff can work on each leg. And in that case we would support the back of the hip and the back of the same leg and do a combined move on the term ready, steady, go, and bring it out backwards. Thank you.